So negotiating is part of being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of deals that we have to work out with our customers, with our suppliers, with our employees, with our investors. There's always deals that have to happen. Tip number 1 is build emotional equity. And this actually happens before you sit down and do the negotiation. The more people know you, like you, trust you, feel like they can connect with you, besides just getting to a meeting and sitting down and getting right to business, the better the chances they're going to give you a good deal, you're going to be able to work something out. I hate showing up to any kind of negotiation and it's right to business. I have no context on who they are. We don't know anything about each other. And so what can really help you get a really great deal is to do the prep work in advance, try to get to know the person a little bit more in advance, try to help them out with something that they're working on in advance so you build up your emotional equity with them so they like you, so they know you, so they trust you before you even walk into the room and you position yourself for success. Number 2 is envision how the conversation is going to go. And so when you get into a negotiation, you never quite know how everything's going to play out, but I always have a game plan, right? It's good to have a game plan going in. Imagine what it's going to be like when you sit down, what you're going to say, what topics you're going to cover, how you generally see a conversation going. When you can envision that in advance, and it's not just I envision it so it's going to happen, it's important that you have some kind of game plan going in. And so what I'll do before going into an important negotiation, even sitting down talking to my instructors here at Toronto Dance Salsa, before going into a meeting with any of them where we might be negotiating something, I've played out the conversation a few times in my head. How do I want to start? What questions do I want to ask? What are some likely answers that will come back? If they ask me this, what am I going to say? If they say this, what am I going to say? It doesn't mean I'm going to predict everything that comes out. You never will. But being able to role play a little bit, at least with yourself. Alex loves role playing with me, so he loves having somebody else to role play against. I just like doing it with myself. I don't like role playing with somebody in front of me, so whatever works for you. But that idea of playing out a scenario in advance, envisioning how the conversation might go and what your answers and replies would be, can really, really, really help. So again, before you even get to the meeting, you want to set yourself up for success by envisioning how the conversation is going to go and having a game plan. Tip number 3 is listen. This is so important. If you want to be a good negotiator, if you want to get what you want, it also comes from helping the other person get what they want. And so it starts by listening. 2 really important things about listening. 1, you're getting clues. You're looking for what they care about, what they really value, and you're trying to find a way to work it out, right? If you go in with the approach like, I'm going to win and they're going to lose, that is not a fantastic mindset. You're looking for ways that you can both win. You're looking for ways to get what you want and for them to get what they want. And in order to understand what they want, you have to get it out of them. You got to listen, right? There's the expression of you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? You want to be listening. Listen, listen, listen. Understand what they want. The side benefit of it too is that you're building rapport. The more you listen, the more you're taking in the information they're saying, the more they feel connected to you. People like to talk. They like to talk about themselves. And so the more that you let them talk about themselves, the more they're thinking, I like this person. You know, I vibe with this person. This person gets me. Right? And all you're really doing is listening. And so again, the more you build up that trust and confidence and friendship, the more likely they're going to want to do business with you and find a deal that you guys can work towards together. So tip number 4 is know your outcome. It's really helpful for you to know what it is that you want coming out of this negotiation, right? So back to tip number 2 about envision where the conversation is going to go. Have an understanding of what you want out of it. It doesn't mean that that's exactly what you're going to get, and maybe some new opportunities get uncovered along the path, but to go in knowing what it is that you want, what's the ideal case scenario, and then what would you settle for, like what is the minimum case scenario that you want out of that situation. Having that clear picture is really, really important, so you can work towards it. You don't need to necessarily lead with it right away, say, this is what I want, but to know in your head what it is that your outcome is going to be, and then to figure out what a desired outcome is for them, and then try to find a place for both of you to be able to match. Because there'll be some things that you really care about that they don't care so much about, and some things that they really care about that you can live with not having. And so figuring out that ideal outcome for both of you is where the real negotiations win. Tip number 5 is be flexible in your approach. So we know our outcome, we're a little bit stubborn on that, like this is what we need to get out of this deal, but how we get there might change, right? No matter how much you plan, no matter how much you work in advance to try to figure out how the conversation is going to go, there's still going to be a lot of twists and turns. And if you are fixed on this is the only way to go out and get this goal, then it's going to be really hard to get a deal that works for both of you. Right? And so just like in entrepreneurship, you have a mission, you have a vision, you have your values, you're stubborn on that. Like this is the big thing I'm trying to build. But the how to get there, the execution can change, can flow, right? You're gonna have to go with what the market wants and make adjustments along the way. The business plan that you have never ends up being the business plan that works.